Hello, everyone. So today we are exploring Agu's theme at compassion inquiry, which is non-attachment. And through the CI lens, non-attachment does not mean becoming indifferent or less caring. It really invites us to stay present without attaching to an outcome or a particular desire. So for that reason, I brought today Anouk Wehli. Uh, so Anouk is one of our compassion inquiry practitioners, and she's a psychologist based near Zurich in Switzerland. And she has been part of the CI community since 2020. And her background also includes grief counseling, breath work, traumatology, and she's part of the facilitating team of the portal, which is another one of our programs. So Anouk, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Caro.
So we're just gonna dive right in, and I'm gonna ask you first, what does non-attachment mean to you through the CI lens?
So I would say through the CI lens, non-attachment has become a practice for me, that it's something I cultivate. So what we want to do is start to connect to a presence and trusting the client's process without doing anything. It sounds simple, but it's actually much more complicated than it sounds. Um, we're really believing in the client's process, that they have it within them to help themselves, and we don't need to do any of that. So we want to develop a relationship with them, work together in a therapeutic alliance, but also not believe we are the reason that they're going to get better, but we're simply supporting their process. And then at some point, Gabor always says, get fired. We want to get fired so that they say, I'm good. I'm going to go off now. Thank you very much. That's how I see non-attachment. So it is a practice that as soon as I meet someone, I also know, we will also part ways again. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very interesting posture. And how is non-attachment different from, let's say, detachment or not caring? Like, because like I think there's like maybe a very thin line where you're just not attached or you don't care. So how is that different? How is non-attachment different from not caring?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, I still work with that inside me. Am I non-attached, or am I trying not to care, or am I indifferent? Right? It's. I'm glad you asked that. I see it in CI. I see it as um, let's use the word healing for the purpose of therapy, but a healing that the client again activates within themselves, but through the relationship that we have, right? So as a therapist, I'm caring to create a safe space, a container where they can come in, where they can get to know themselves, where they can experience things that maybe they didn't experience when they were children. And then in that space, that's when they start to do their thing, let's call it as well. They start to do whatever it is they need to be able to reconnect to their true self, their essence, whatever wasn't destroyed back in childhood or through whatever traumatic event that they've been through, so that they can also let go of the defense mechanisms, let go of the coping mechanisms, and really discover, who am I? Because I'm here as the therapeutic presence, caring about their recovery.
Mhm.
That's I don't know if that is helpful, but that's how I
I
would
mean,
say the difference is, because I do care, but it is up to them to really, do the work and make it happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's as you said, I think like you early pointed out, something that Gabor says a lot, and it's just at one point just also becoming fire from the client and just trusting that they have their own
Yeah.
capacity from what you've been working with them, and not becoming attached to there's a particular way that we need to solve this, or there's a particular truth that you need to go within you. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks for wording it like that as well. That's great to see you reflect back. Yeah.
And so I have another question. So how, like, what does non-attachment look like when we're dealing with uncertainty and we're very worried about like an outcome, or we really want something, but there's a lot of uncertainty happening right there. How do we stop being attached?
Yeah, that's right.
Big
It's
question.
yeah, exactly. So non-attachment through the CI lens, in my experience, will look like trusting the process. So really going, I don't know what's going to happen today or in this session, but I trust that the client will show up the way they need to be. I'm going to meet the client where they're at. And whatever needs to happen is going to happen. Whatever emerges in the present moment, that's what we're going to go with. I also come from the nonviolent communication world, and we say we're going to surf with whatever's here. We're just going to ride whichever wave comes, you know. So that's how I see non-attachment when it comes to uncertainty, because we're never going to know what's going to come. And if we think we know what's going to come and what's going to happen, there is a practice for non-attachment. Again, to let go instead of holding on. Yeah.
Okay, it's beautiful. I love the what you just said, just riding with the waves.
Mm.
Uh, that's the best. That's the best example. And what sort of like things can pull a practitioner, let's say, into fixing, trying to rescue, or needing a particular outcome to happen with a client?
So we in compassion inquiry, we have the year-long training that we go through for a foundational mastery of the competencies, and then there's a second level, the mentorship, where we work on what shows up inside us, all our unconscious biases, everything that's imprinted in us, right, that
Mhm.
might be um, present in the room or virtual space. And what we're looking at there is subpersonalities we teach in compassion inquiry. And you might have a part of you that wants to fix, advise, teach, save, preach, be liked, be right, you know? And usually those subpersonalities will show up in our sessions if we're not aware of ourselves and present with what's going on inside us.
Mhm.
And so when that happens, what we want to do is, okay, notice what's happening, who's here, what am I attached to in this moment, or at least that part of me, right? That subpersonality. And then, okay, can I let it go? I'm aware of it, it's here. And now, can I surrender back into the client's process and be present with whatever that they're experiencing? Because we are relational. Whatever happens with someone else in whatever relationship, it will have an effect on us, right? It will impact us. And as therapists, we learn that in the mentorship program to just be present with whatever's showing up for us so that we can be with it, have some self compassion, and then say, yeah, I see you, I hear you, you know, and now let's be present again with the person sitting across us, right? Or on our screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like Gabor and Sadaram often say that when you start this process of the professional training, actually the work starts with you a lot. So it starts always with you, and seeing those parts of yourself more clearly. Uh, so yeah,
Yes, yes, exactly. The training is mainly about you. It's
yeah,
not about, yeah, how you can do anything for your client. It's often how can you work on what's showing up inside you. Yeah.
yeah. And how can we hold a clear intention without becoming attached to where the session leads?
Um, how can we hold a clear intention? I would say, you know, the intention gives us a direction, right? It gives us, it's like a compass, you know, it's that way, right? The North Star is that there, or if you want to go west, you want to go east. But what we're doing is we're not going to stick, you know, rigidly to a certain direction, and we're just going to head, we're going to use it as a guidance, go that way, stay attuned to the client's experience, and just kind of see what shows up. Again, what's present? Can I create enough safety for the client? Noticing what is my tension, what is in me, again, what's showing up in me that is stopping me from being surrendering to the process again, and allowing the client to lead, because wherever they go, that's where we go. Yeah, we can maybe question, we can inquire, right? We can get curious about maybe why they're going a certain way. Again, if defense mechanisms show up, we can just get curious and say, let's notice what's happening. Where's that from? How far back does that go? And again, just be present with whatever it is, and then continue on our journey. So I would say a clear intention is important, so we know which direction to go, but not to attach to it. Again, there's the non-attachment, right? And
Yeah.
say, well, we have to go that way. And, I need to have certain results. Because again, as you said, we don't attach to the outcomes. We just go with whatever is present.
Yeah, we can always reroute like a GPS. Like
Yeah.
maybe this is not the
Yeah.
road today. Maybe we go another one. That's fine
Yeah.
as well. That's part of
Yes.
life.
It sure is. Yeah.
What becomes possible when we trust the client's process rather than directing it?
What becomes possible?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I would say there are endless possibilities. In my experience, maybe the client's main possibility that I would hope to encourage, by working with them in a therapeutic alliance, is that they connect to their essence, that
Mhm.
they reconnect to who they really are, that they can kind of strip away the layers of personality, the layers of coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, the identities that they have created, so that they truly move through life with, this is who I am, authentically me. This is what I'm here for. So that's kind of what I believe, is possible.
Mhm.
Of course, at the end of the day, we want everyone who comes through a compassion inquiry session to just have that little extra bit more of connection to who they are, or
Mhm.
maybe a little more awareness of how they're moving through the world. We
Mhm.
don't necessarily need anyone to feel better. We're also teaching, sometimes it's not about feeling better, but about getting better at feeling. Again, reconnecting to emotions that might have been, suppressed,
Mhm.
because that's what was needed at the time, right?
So, like in other words, by us as a therapist not becoming attached and allowing also a client not to become attached to a particular desire, what truly emerged is that connection that allows them to be really themselves and be authentic in the most, yeah, genuine way.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and I think it's a great point you're bringing up. That compassion inquiry is not about goals or learning anything. The sessions are, again, with an intention about being present and noticing what's showing up.
Hmm.
It's not talk therapy either, so.
Yeah. What like questions can we ask ourselves when we realize we're trying to control or grasp something in life and in
um
session?
sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have you ever been in a traffic jam and gone, oh, I need to be somewhere and I have 20 minutes left, and I see on my GPS it says 23 minutes till I get, arrive at my destination. We can either feel the tension in our body and allow it to take over and hijack our present moment experience and get upset, or get angry, or beat ourselves up, or we can also surrender and say, well, I'm going to be late. That's clear, right? And can I just be present with this experience, and notice maybe some beliefs I have about being late, or whatever's going on inside me, or what am I attached to right now?
Mhm.
If you want to just take those with you after this call today, just what am I not letting go? What's
Mm.
keeping me from just simply being here and noticing the present moment? You can ask, what is happening inside me? Do I have a need for control? Do I want a certain outcome? Yeah.
That's beautiful. A wise man once told me, like around 25 years ago, he said, like, stop trying to control what you can't.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
And it's easier said than done. I invite you to try it when you're trying to control something. Yeah, exactly.
I guess like one of my final questions, or my final question actually, is like, what sort of like practices or what can we do to become less attached? Like besides asking ourselves those questions, what else like can we do in real life to try to become less attached?
Um, so what else we can do? I don't know if there's anything else I can add to what I just shared, in the last 10, 15 minutes, but I would just kind of maybe sum it up to remembering that if we notice tension inside ourselves, Weber has taught that it needs attention, right?
Mhm.
It's a nice little rhyme there. Where there is tension, bring your attention. Um, Notice maybe the beliefs, notice the judgments that are inside us. Um, Notice if we're attached to an outcome. What is it? Notice who's showing up, the subpersonalities, as I mentioned. Um, and can we trust the client's process? Can we let go and say they can do this? I always use the example of when children learn to tie shoelaces. I mean, the time you need to wait while a child is really trying to practice tying that shoelace and create the bow and go through it. They're usually about 4, 5, 6, depending on whatever age they start tying their own shoes. But can we stand there and just patiently notice the process?
Mhm.
Everything we do for our children, we're taking away an experience from them, right? Same with our clients. Everything we do for them or try to fix in them or try to guide them a certain way or tell them because we know better. Maybe there's a part that might believe that. If we can just say, oh, look at that. Look at what they're doing, that shoelace will get tied at some point. It's just a matter of how do we deal with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anouk. This has been very insightful, I think, for all of us in this practice of becoming less attached to a desire of or an outcome. Um, if you would like to share like a final few words with the audience, that would be great. Uh, yeah.
I guess my invitation for everybody when it comes to non-attachment with a compassionate inquiry lens is to simply notice, who am I with whatever it is that we're, experiencing the moment, and who am I without.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anouk.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.